By a show of hands, how many of you are familiar with the television show Matlock? I love that show. I used to watch that show every day as much as my mother would allow when I was a young kid. I made a connection to Matlock. Matlock was always helping others. He was always righting the wrongs. He was always solving the case. And so at an early age, I was determined to be just like Matlock. I was going to help others. I was going to right the wrongs. I was going to solve the case. That dream was an important dream for me, but it was almost shattered because I struggled to read at an early age. And during one of my tutoring sessions, I shared that dream. I told my tutor, I'm going to be just like Matlock. I think I had just saw a good episode that night previous. And I said, I'm going to be just like Matlock when I grow up, and I'm going to go to college and make something of myself. And that tutor, I think she meant well, but she cautioned me. She cautioned me that because I was a struggling reader and because of my background, that college might be a bit of a lofty goal for me. You see, my parents hadn't graduated from college at that time. On my father's side of the family, in my generation, no male even attended college. And so I wondered, was she correct? And I started to doubt myself. I really did. I started getting quiet in school. I started struggling. I was really wondering, would I ever be good enough? She went on to say, the other reason you could never be Matlock is because you're black. So you'll never be Matlock. But don't feel so bad. During that same time, the principal of my school, I don't think she knew about this, but it was a coincidence. She started calling me Mr. President. She said to me, you're going to be president of the United States one day. And she would even call me Mr. President in front of other students walking down the hallway. I mean, she would do it in front of my parents, in front of students. She even told my parents one day when they came to pick me up, she said, your son is going to be president one day. And over time, that resonated with me. Over time, it did something for me. Over time, my dreams started to come back alive. Over time, my confidence built again in myself. And my energy was so high that I carried it for 16 years across the stage when I graduated from Morehouse College. And that's me getting a degree there. It is no coincidence that I lead an organization that helps others, that rights the wrong, that solves the case. I have walked in the shoes of the students of powerful schools. I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to struggle to read. I know what it's like to come from humble beginnings. I know what it's like not to believe in yourself. And so I make connections to these students and their families every day. But there was one particular family who I made a strong connection with. You see, we have these family literacy nights, and after school we work with the parents and we work with their children together to help them support at-home reading. And some of the parents don't speak English as a first language, so we actually have interpreters there. And it was during one of those sessions, we were all gathered at the table, and we were all sitting there going through the books, going through the lessons, and one of the fathers rose his hand. He rose his hand and said, I want to say something. And he said it in his language of Spanish. So through the interpreter, she interpreted what he said. And he said that he had a dream for his son, Jose. He said that he came to America from Mexico because he wanted his son to have a better life than him. He said that he wanted his son to have more opportunity. He saw that opportunity here in America. So despite not knowing anything about the United States, he took a risk, and he brought his family to America. And his son, Jose, was terribly shy. Jose would barely lift his head up. He would barely speak. And over time, he began to do better. He began to learn English. He began to improve. And he was so confident in himself that he was actually one of the speakers this past March at our annual breakfast in front of 500 people, and he did a fabulous job. I really do believe that it's the invisible connections that we make that change lives. The invisible connection that I made to Matlock, a television character, the helping others, righting the wrong, solving the case. The invisible connection that the principal made with me as the president of the United States, the invisible connection that I made with Jose's father and his dream, the invisible connection that Jose's father made with America as a place that could accomplish what he wanted for his son. And the invisible connections that each and every one of you in this room make to the causes that you care so dearly about. You give of your time, your resources, your heart. And so I say to each and every one of you, continue to believe that you can change the world. Continue to right the wrongs, continue to solve the case, continue to help others. Because after all, it is the invisible connections that inspire us all. Thank you.